All right, and welcome into a new episode of the Bleed Orange and Blue, an Illini fan podcast. Going to go ahead and recap the disappointing overtime loss yet again to Wisconsin here in the Big Ten tournament. Going to dive into that. Definitely going to dive into defensive breakdowns, offensive mistakes, and the terrible officiating that the Big Ten needs to answer for. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. This is a disappointing loss for all of Illini Nation. Definitely frustrated with this loss for so many reasons. And let's go ahead and get into the details of it. Obviously, John Blackwell and Nick Boyd tore us up yet again, even when we have Kylan, have Andre back. Obviously, Kylan getting into foul trouble early played a major effect in this. Put a lot of more pressure on Andre, Jake Davis, and Keaton in regards to holding down a Blackwell there. And there was times where we saw Blackwell utilize his veteran leadership strength against Keaton when getting to the rim. I thought, honestly, we didn't do a great job in help defense on those guys getting to the paint at times. And, our bigs, mainly kind of Tommy in this one, just not putting enough pressure on them, letting them just scoop around him and getting those layups. I mean, Nick Boyd went 10 of 12 from 2-point in this one, and John Blackwell went 5 of 5. That's a combined 15 to 17 from guards that are smaller than any of your players on the entire team, basically, aside from Kylan and Petro and Blake Fabgini. Like, you got three guys that are their size or smaller on this entire squad. We're the tallest team in the nation, and we did not let them feel that from us yet again in this one. I thought there was moments where we had really good defensive possessions. I thought in the first half, obviously. I mean, we held them to 30 points in the first half. Great defense. Honestly, our offense was in the first 11 minutes of the game. We were on pace to score about 54 points in the first half. With 36. Obviously, there's missing shots that play into that, other things, but I really just think that we did not take advantage of our moments in this one on the offensive side of the ball. We did not put the pedal to the floor. I mean, we really had some opportunities to blow the lead out. Obviously, Illinois ended up having a 15-point second half lead. What happened with that? Well, there's a couple things. Wisconsin put the pressure. They made shots. They got to the foul line a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and dive into that now because, not going to lie, I've been sitting on this for a couple days. I've been complaining about it. I've complained about it on Twitter as well. The officiating in this game was so all over the place, was so biased at times. And I know, Illini Nation, we complain about the officials all the time. We complain about not getting calls and all those things. Brad has complained about it and has sent multiple times into the Big Ten and has received no response back from what he said in press conferences. So I think he's at the point where he's not even going to bring it up because he's not going to waste his breath anymore. I'm going to waste my breath on this one because this may have been one of the worst officiating games I've ever seen as a crew. You had one official I had never seen officiate any Big Ten game at all. Don't know where this guy came from. And he was the one making calls out of position against us. There was 3 different fouls in the second half in which Wisconsin either got and ones or obviously the main one that we all saw in overtime, or actually, I guess that was in the second half, of John Blackwell just getting airballing a shot from great defense and getting a foul call because Andre was playing as good a defense on that shot as you possibly could. And the ref was out of position and blew the whistle with 46 seconds to go. Absolutely ridiculous. So my dad officiated high school. Obviously, high school and college are different, but still, there's some unwritten rules as a ref that you don't make calls on. I saw this out on Twitter as well. Someone that was actually an official themselves come out and say this and say, you don't call those type of calls in the last minute of the game because you are a official that is now dictating who's going to win that game. It was a tie ball game. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, We are one of the least fouling teams in the nation. And guys, we had a total of 23 fouls to their 19. And I'm going to point out a disparity, and obviously they shot 10 more free throws in this one, 20 went 24-25. They won it the aspect of how they played. Illinois still could have won this game. We went 8 of 15 from the line. Absolutely ridiculous. Not the first time we've seen this, but I see a trend. When we are getting some bad calls on us or unfavorable calls on us foul-wise, and the other team is getting to the line more because of it, I noticed our mindset at 3 of the line is not great. I mean, obviously, Keaton went 2 of 3 from the line. Merck went 1 of 3 from the line. Stojakovic missed those 2 in a row, went 4 of 6 from the line. Jake Davis missed the end of a front end of 1-on-1 that would have been game winning for us. Game winning. All you had to do is hit that first one. We would have won this game. So, I think from a mental standpoint, I think our guys were trying. Our guys were getting effort. But as Brad even said in the post-game press conference, the mentality let up on the defensive side when our offense was doing well. And I agree. These guys play hard, but they do let up on the pedal quite a bit. And if the other team has the fight in them, the dog in them to not get down because they're 15 down, they're going to have a chance to come back against this team because they let up. They can't do that. We all complain about that. We all know it. We all see it. Like, guys, get after it. A big aspect of this game. I mean, Keaton and David, while they definitely had mistakes in this game, they played hard. They played well. I mean, Keaton got some cheap freaking foul calls on him. One in which he did not even touch a guy and they gave him an and one. Again, from the ref that was on the opposite side of the floor that couldn't even see that contact or no contact in that case. And you saw Keaton reacting in this game on some of the foul calls. You have not seen it all season for the most part. Maybe 1 or 2 other calls that I've seen him like actively react to and look at the ref like, what are you talking about? For a humble kid that plays in the game, that plays within himself, to be reacting that way, that shows you as an official, if you actually have officiated him before, you're making mistakes. You're doing something wrong. That wasn't out of his own frustration of the game. That was out of frustration of a terrible call. I mean, without a doubt. And this officiating crew played a major factor into this game. I'm not going to say they won it for Wisconsin, but they screwed Illinois over. I'm not saying Illinois couldn't have won, but they screwed Illinois over. Consistent calls. They could not get on the same level of like what's going to be a foul and what's not. Wisconsin was grabbing on us like hardcore. I'm not saying Illinois didn't also grab at all in that first half, but Wisconsin was grabbing a lot. They were pulling. They were wrapping up guys. Like, they were doing so much. I mean, Stojakovic alone should have had probably 4 more drawn fouls. At one play alone, literally driving to the lane, Blackwell banged against him as he was driving. You saw Andre bounce back and then continue going and get up in the air and get banged again and miss it just off the backboard. That's atrocious. That's atrocious no whistle. But you call fouls where there was no contact. I mean, it's like they couldn't get on the same page. They were waiting for one guy to blow the whistle and they didn't, and they just didn't care. I also threw a theory out there that the Big Ten probably told these officials, hey, guys, let them play because we have to worry about this tournament. We have to worry about commercials. We have to get this all done at a certain time because TV network. And that's a load of crap because it's the Big Ten network. Like, you have ownership over the network. So it doesn't matter. Like, let them play. Let the officials do their jobs. And I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, I don't have like inside information saying that, but that is something that I noticed with Big Ten tournament the last few years. If you're going to let them play, then let them play. And don't start calling chintzy cheap, obviously, invisible fouls in the second half, because I think Illinois got one give me call from the refs, and that was when they called Boyd for carrying the ball. Was he? Yes. But do they call that ever anymore? No. Unless he was running like 3 steps with it. They don't make that call anymore. So for me, like, the ref, we had just gotten, I believe Andre literally just got fouled, taken it to the hoop, didn't get a call. Then they called a very cheap little ticky-tack foul for Blackwell on the other end. And then we got, and that ref knew that was a bad. a bad miss by him and the crew not getting the foul call, so they called that carry. It's ridiculous. Like, guys are gonna miss stuff. I get that. They're human. They're not perfect. But at some point, you've got to take ownership as a conference. The Big Ten has to take ownership. We're their most powerful, biggest conference out there. I'm going to say SEC is pretty much tied with us with that. We're the main focal points of college sports. We have the most money. Hire full-time refs. Give them real full-time jobs, benefits, salary, everything. Training. They can have an off season, right? But they can also be trained, and more than just their once a year type of thing or twice a year type of thing. They need to be held accountable. They need to be trained. They need to be reviewed. And guess what? People need to get fired. People need to go on our background checks if they don't, because I wouldn't be surprised one bit if we have ran across some refs that have money somewhere involved with these games. There's too much sports betting out there for something like that to not be going on. And not gonna lie, wouldn't be surprised if the one ref I don't know from Adam that was out there on that floor was a part of that. That's how bad these calls were. That's how phantom these calls were at times. I mean, guys were throwing their hands up like, "What are you talking about?" The commentators even said, like, "You gotta let them play through that. That's very minimal contact. You gotta let them play through that." At this point in the game, absolutely play through that. I just don't get it. And sorry, I'm on a soapbox about this, but it's so frustrating to watch. I'm taking like my lunch break from work to watch the game, like middle of my work day and everything. And to be so frustrated and infuriated because of just principle based like crap being gone against, like normal calls, normal unwritten rules that every ref should know out there. I mean, you don't make that foul call towards the end of the game. That was not a foul. It was great defense. I will try to get off this soapbox, but man, that just is frustrating. I was even having a conversation with my dad afterward, and I said, you know what? That may have been one of the worst officiating games I saw against since the '05 national championship game, which North Carolina definitely got biased in favor by the refs. I mean, it was just kind of blatant at times. That we're not even touching on the fact of how many times Keaton was fouled. Sorry, I say Keegan all the time because of Keegan Fagan, but Keaton uh, getting fouled so much in this game and not getting calls. I mean, this is a tough kid, but blow a freaking whistle when you're supposed to blow a whistle. Don't blow one when you're not. Simple as that, straightforward as that. Get the bias out of the game, whatever's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of that. I'm going to give a lot of credit in this game to Andrei Stojakovic as well. 17 points, 6 boards. You saw his effort in this one. Did he make some defensive mistakes? Yeah, he did a few times. But kid played his butt off. Kylan, I loved his intensity coming out. The double technical was so quick for the officials to blow the whistle on. Break them up, separate them, warn them. Like, give them a warning. Like, you know what this is. This is the tournament. Like, this is guys are getting fiery with each other. Like, you should know this coming into this game you're officiating, and then our guys played hard. I don't think they didn't play hard. I think they definitely took the pedal off the gas. We could have absolutely won this game. Jake Davis said afterward, they're a good team, but we win 7 out of 10 of those. I think we win 9 out of 10 of those if your effort's at 100%, 100% of the game. And that's not a knock on him. That's not a knock on. It's just overall as a team, like, let things go. Let little things go. They didn't leave it all out there. They could have. They were close to it, but they definitely let some things up. Hats off to Merck in this one. Again, I'm retouch base back with some of these guys play. Like, Merck's biggest frustration for me in this game was missing free throws and getting after the boards harder. Everything else. I mean, 6 of 6 from 2. He did 2 of 7 from 3. There's maybe 1 3 he took that I didn't like, but he kept us in it late with hitting a big 3. 5 assists in this one to 1 turnover. I can't really say much against Mark at all in this game, aside from just maybe crashing the boards a little bit more in that second half. We definitely could have used that. Tomislav, he had a couple moments of looking a little better and still saw a lot of the same in regards to three-point shooting. He hit a big one. Actually, if there wasn't a weird foul call or weird call made, he would have had a second one in this one that he it bounced in from the corner. He hit his free throws, but 2 rebounds, 24 minutes of play, 2 rebounds. He's 7-1. There was 3 rebounds or so that were in his hands that he let Wisconsin pop out. That's just one and more. I think that's my issue with Tommy right now is he is not showing he wants it like we saw last year or even at times this year. And I think his mentality is just off. I don't know what we need to jumpstart him. I know he shaved the beard, had the mustache going on. Cool. Sometimes giving yourself a little change up gets you into a different mentality. Didn't see that in this one. I mean, he had a nice, quick little putback when he did grab an offensive board. Like we saw a couple good things out of him, but honestly, not enough, and not enough effort. Big Z, I'm gonna give Big Z some credit in this one. He did make a few defensive mistakes, but 9 points, 7 boards. He got after the boards. You saw him crashing the boards, especially in that first half. I think really second half boards is a big factor into why we lost this one. We ended up losing the rebound battle after we were winning it by quite a bit in the first half at one point. So obviously effort hitting the boards, like Ben Rickhouse was hitting the boards the first half. Z was hitting the boards in the first half. I started seeing like Keaton ran in and grabbed one. And I'm like, you know what? Keaton hasn't been crashing the boards real hard lately. That's something he was the #1 offensive rebounder on the team for like the first half of the season. I get he's out on the perimeter more, facilitating more, doing those things, but crash the boards, dude. You were so good at it. Where did you go? Maybe it's an energy thing, but I think it's definitely an effort thing as well. Kylan in this one, Kylan looked good when he was out there. Obviously, he got into foul trouble off of what was kind of he was trying to set a tone. Let's be real. He heard all this chatter about grit and passion and, guys talking smack about this team, about not having that. He went out and showed to try to set the tone for his team. And the refs just were so quick to double technical. That's one of the quickest technicals I've ever seen. Like, I don't even think DeMonte got a technical in that Iowa game when he was forehead to forehead. And that was way more chippy and chirped up than this situation was. They were just forehead to forehead jawing a little bit. Like, hands weren't getting up there. There's no shoving going on. They're trying to get into each other's heads a little bit and, like, let them play. This is a tournament. Let them do their thing. Like, don't let them get in a fight. Cool. Like, maintain or step in, separate them, give them a warning. But these refs, again, all over the place. Like, you call a quick double technical and then you don't call probably 70% of the fouls that should have gotten called in the first half. Then you turn around and start calling them in the second half, mainly for one team. And you start calling stuff that you can't even see just because you assume it was a foul. It's terrible. It's terrible officiating. I'm sorry. I keep going back to that, but it's just so frustrating. Henrik House, like, effort was there. Energy was there. He got beat. I thought his defensive matchup wasn't great for him, even though he did a decent job on Braden Carrington. Carrington only ended up with 3 points. But I really thought that we needed to work the post more in this one. They didn't have Nolan Winter. Should have worked the post more, especially offensively when things were like lagging a bit. Like, get it into Mark, get it into Big T. Just let them do their post up stuff. I mean, obviously, Mark did a great job within 2-point land. T had went 2 of 3 from 2-point. Only one he missed was that stupid mid-range shot. I get it. Like, I'm a mid-range shooter, so that's bread and butter for me. And I'd want to take that shot in the same situation. I know T's actually a solid mid-range shooter, but not in the right timing place. It was just too out of sorts. If anything, he didn't really have anybody around him. Take a dribble, put your back to the basket, turn and do your little flip hook shot, and probably would have gone in and been more efficient that way. Yeah, I mean, upset with some of the lack of defensive effort in this one, the grit of, like, we owned the boards in the first half. We let them come back in the second and in overtime. I had been very positive, very optimistic about this team, even with a lot of the negative chatter as of late. But I need to see that 12-0 stretch run, that team, that mentality back. Because those guys had pride. Those guys had the want to, get after it. We're going to put the pedal to the floor. We're going to put our foot on your throat, and they need to get that mentality back. It was great to see Andre have another good Andre game because I think that's so important for you. We need T to get back to that. Z, I thought, showed up in this one. T, honestly, is such a big aspect to this. And I don't think people realize or give the credit to what effect his mindset, mentality, and how he shows up plays into winning for this team. Merck is just not big enough to go be our main low post guy, to be a center and to go challenge things down low more and challenge the boards more. And he does a great job, but he's only 6'9", and he's athletically, not gifted. And I understand that because nor was I. But T just needs to bring it. If he brought it on Big Z's level in this game, we win. I think he goes out and gets 7, 8, 9 rebounds, probably 10 to 14 points. And I think we absolutely win this game by 7 to 10 points, even with some bad officiating in there. So definitely would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I do ask if it's negative for it to be constructive, not just trash talking the team or the game. Unless it's the refs, then I'm open to that. You can have your heyday with that one. But the Illini team needs to get things back together going in the tournament. We've got, I think, a week or a little over a week that they're going to have to rest up, practice up, get their heads on straight, and find that why. Get that drive back. Get that dog in them. I think they all have it in them. We've seen moments of it. We need to see it as a team, as a whole. They need to be a pack and they need to be running together. This team is so connected on aspect of getting along with each other. We need the guys going out there slapping the floor on defense, showing some pride on that end and getting after it. We can go hit 15, 23s in a game, absolutely. But guess what? We can also hold teams down to 60 points. We've done that. We've shown that. Get at with that mentality. We're not going to just beat you on the offensive side. We're going to hold you down on defense, and this is going to be a 20 or 30 point win every single night because this team could do that. I think athletically, we're going to have some teams that don't allow us to do that entirely. But I think with the effort, we've seen teams in the past. I always remember Chester Frazier's senior season, that squad. I believe they won. I can look it up real quick. I want to say that team won 23 games that season. I am going to pull this up real quick because I want to verify that. I don't want me running out saying random things. That would have been 2009. And that squad went 24-10. They were called overachievers on Selection Sunday, if I remember correctly. I think it was Selection Sunday they were called that. No, they dropped some tough games towards the end of their season. They got a win in the Big Ten tournament. Then they lost to Purdue. Ended up losing to Western Kentucky in their first round. But I remember that team. Let's dive into it. They went stretches, held the team to 50, 53, 63, 64, 63, 44, 42, 58, 50, 51, 59, 53, 67 in overtime against Purdue, which was a win at Purdue, at Mackey Arena. Yeah, at Purdue. I remember that game fondly. Held Indiana to 45 points, held Michigan to 51, Ohio State to 49, Wisconsin to 57. That's a good Wisconsin team that year. So many of these games under 50 points even, not even just 60. And you know what led to their demise was giving up 66 to Purdue, giving up 72 to Western Kentucky. Their team wasn't super athletic either. We're talking a lineup. All right, we had Mike Tisdale, which I played against in high school, and Mike could jump a little bit for his size, but wasn't super gifted athletically, in regards to his agility or sliding his feet. Mike Davis, decently athletic, but was 6'10", 210, but was a tough guy. Just got after it. You had Dimitri McCamey, decent athleticism, speed for college, but wasn't the quickest guy in the world, wasn't the most athletic guy. Obviously, you had Chester Frazier, who was all effort, all time, hard-nosed, good athlete. You had Trent Meacham, not known as a great athlete. Calvin Brock was a solid athlete, had some ups about him. That team had Alex Legion, that was a transfer from Kentucky, obviously a good athlete, but didn't really do a whole lot. Dominique Keller, who's an undersized 4K athlete. You had Richard Semaru, not athletically gifted, 6'10", 240, your typical old school big. And Jeff Jordan, who obviously, Michael's kid, he was athletic, but did not necessarily have the highest talent level outside of that athleticism. that team over Chief. If I was Underwood, I'd go back and show these guys. I mean, a couple of these guys, Newchester Frazier, I think at this point is just Ty Rogers, but show those guys the effort, their athleticism. I mean, this squad could shoot a bit with having, Tisdale as a big that could shoot. Trent Meacham could shoot. Chester Frazier, that his senior year definitely was a solid shooter. Thought he should have shot the ball more. Dimitri McCamey was a shooter. So, you had some similarities, I think, in regards to type of player. McCamey kind of reminds me a bit of Boswell in some ways. Maybe not, Bos isn't quite the scorer McCamey was or anything, but you had some similarities there. Some, smaller guys, or less athletic guys at certain positions show their effort, show their dog in them. They got after it. There's a reason they won 24 games, and it was a lot to do with effort. There's a reason they held teams down to less than 50, 60 points. A lot of it had to do with effort. It wasn't all X's and O's. It wasn't all athletic ability. It wasn't being the tallest team because, I mean, that guard lineup, the tallest guy out there was 6'3". If you count Alex Legion, 6'5", count Brock, I guess, but they played the three, really. You didn't have a lot of length in a super athletic team, but you had a team that had heart, that had effort, and got after it. This team needs to get back to that mentality, and I've been saying that, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Again, we're going to go into Selection Sunday here. We're about 5 hours out from that starting. Obviously, I think we're going to end up as a 3 seed. Is the way things look. Hope we end up in St. Louis. I think it would be great to have the fan base there for that one, just for the extra support. I really see this team, if they bring that dog in them, if they have that get after it consistently, and I think it's, again, 3 guys that have to have that mentality every game. And it's not Merck. I think Merck has had a couple games he was a little out of it mentally, but I don't think his effort was gone. He just wasn't there mentally. Obviously, the rest of our lineup, for the most part, the effort's there, except Tommy, Z, Stojakovic. We saw Stojakovic. We saw Z show up. Tommy, still not right. And it's all in that 1 square feet of real estate, right in the head. I know he has the heart in him. We saw that last year. We saw that at points this year. We need his head in this. We need his drive in this. This guy can do some great things for us. He showed great things in the tournament last year. Him and basically him and Boswell couldn't do enough by themselves. And we need him if we want to make a run. If not, I see this team ceiling at Sweet 16 or Elite 8. We need Tommy to show up being Tommy for us to do anything beyond that. I know there's people out there going to be like, oh, we're going to probably lose in the first round or lose in the second round. If we got a bad matchup and it didn't show up mentally, yeah, that potentially could happen. I don't foresee it happening. I think there's enough guys that are like in the right headspace and we're talented enough to blow by probably the first 2 rounds without having that tenacity. But dang, in the Sweet 16, Elite 8, anything beyond, we've got to bring it full throttle. So please, guys, leave your thoughts below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Would love to hear more from you guys. If you guys want to even shoot me an email, anybody wants to chime in, maybe come on an episode or want to cover something, again, email me at bleedorangeandbluepod@gmail.com. But thank you guys again for checking out the Bleed Orange and Blue podcast and Illini fan podcast. I hope you guys enjoy what we have coming. I hope we all get to celebrate here with hopefully a 6-game win streak and a national championship. That's what we all want. I think Illini Nation deserves it. And I hope our team goes out and gives out the effort to get to it. So I think we got the talent. Let's go show that we have the effort. As always, ILL.